If you do a job, do you expect to get paid for it? If the owner of a language school offers you a contract, do you expect to see your working hours on it? My foray into English teaching on a freelance basis began in a private school in 2018, where I taught the equivalent of A-level English, or Abitur as it's called here, on an hourly paid basis. Let me point out here that, unlike in the UK, private schools aren't these prestigious schools. They're actually schools which frequently take pupils who have been kicked out of regular schools or who for one reason or another just don't fit in. So expect to be working with kids who are on the autistic spectrum or who have some behavioural disorders, or with adolescents with mental health issues whose mental health has taken a massive nosedive since the pandemic. And all of this for a whopping 20 to 25 euros per hour. At this private school, I was told that all teachers, apart from those the headmaster deemed worthy of a salaried position, earn 20 euros an hour. But as I have a PhD, I could get 40 euros an hour. Jolly good. But I had to keep this a secret so as not to arouse jealousy. A fundamental flaw in the German character is that if something isn't illegal, then it can't be immoral. Now, this was not very conducive to a harmonious working environment. There was already a feeling of the haves and the have-nots in the staff room, and every time a new member of staff rocked up, which was pretty often, there'd be whispers and rumours as to how much they'd be earning. I also didn't appreciate being asked to fill out 2 invoices. One for the director of the school, which said I was earning 20 euros an hour, and one for me, saying that I was earning 40 euros an hour. Make of that what you will. After being shouted at several times in private by the deputy head and phoned up for lengthy discussions by the headmaster in my free time, I decided that the job wasn't worth the hassle, and I quit around 6 months later. In 2021, I started working at an independent language school where you can teach business, English or conversation classes to school-aged pupils or to adults. The hourly rate was a whopping 15 euros for 45 minutes. In case you don't already know, in Germany lessons are typically 90 minutes, so my rate for one class was 30 euros. Now, normally if you teach specialised courses like mechanical English, for example, mechanical engineering, you're supposed to get paid extra. I was promised this, but it was never delivered. The director of the school, though, she liked me and she liked my qualifications even more, especially as she could sell me to her clients to line her pockets, and she was eager to throw work my way. But due to data protection laws in Germany, which I've spoken about earlier, teaching online to companies wasn't very rewarding. So we were using Skype for Business because Zoom spies on you too much, apparently. And I would spend hours a day just talking to a black screen, as my participants weren't allowed to put their cameras on. Right from the get-go, the director said she could offer me a contract. That means I'd get privileges like healthcare, sick pay, pension, paid holidays. I was over the moon. In no time at all, my hours went up, and I was looking forward to signing the contract. But it was delayed. Not once, but 3 times. In March 2022, I finally got to see it. A couple of things stood out, notably the clause which specified how many hours I'd be working a week was crossed out. The director didn't want to give me regular fixed hours. Instead, she wanted to keep it vague and casual so that she wouldn't be tied into paying me a set amount of money during the holidays, or even any money at all. I quote, "But I can't pay you for lessons that you haven't taught." In short, what I had in front of me was nothing other than a 0 hours contract. With a heavy heart, I said "Nein, danke" and resigned. By now, all of this was starting to take its toll on me. You see, I've always loved the interaction with my students. especially when you get to teach students who are intermediate level or advanced, you can really get to connect with them and have a lot of laughs along the way. Like when my students mix up their idioms and they say something funny during a role play exercise like, "You haven't been working hard enough and you really need to pull out your fingers." Or when a student answers the following exam question on British culture, "What is a lollipop lady?" with "A man that dresses up and looks like a woman." But joking aside, the point I'm trying to make is that I loved, and I still love, the content of my job. I've made several friendships with students, like the one who got me through my exams at the vocational college, and others who always send me job postings and meet up with me from time to time for coffee. It's tough having to say goodbye to them so frequently. And my final independent school, ladies and gentlemen, was an English school devoted to the 50-plus market. If you know anything about Germany, you'll know that they're obsessed with age here. This school's motto, "Stay fit in old age." 50. Seriously? This school has 2 directors. The first one phoned me up to thank me for my application, but pointed out that I'm too qualified for the job, and I'd go stir crazy working for them, as they mostly have beginners. A week later, director number 2 calls me up to tell me he'd be delighted to have me on board. Well, with no regular income to speak of and nothing but rejections from regular schools, I tried it out. When I enter the classroom on my first day, I see fruit and a mug on my desk. That's my wage for lesson number 1. The logic behind it being that as it was just a short introductory lesson and not much was done, I don't need to get paid. Okay, I'm not happy about it, but I just draw a line under it. Until I'm told that from then on I was to be paid in vouchers. Vouchers I can use in the supermarket, at the cinema, at spas. And this is all better for me because, you see, if I'm paid into my bank account like a regular human being who's got bills to pay, I'd lose out to tax. So now I've pretty much given up on schools. I send out applications, still in the hope that over 10 years of experience in the German education system will count for something. But I'm disappointed every time, except if I get a last-minute phone call from a school who suddenly realises they're in the Scheisse and wants me as an emergency. And that's actually happened twice. Or if a school wants a teacher come social worker. And with this school I'll finish. I was invited to attend an interview and a kind of observing session in a classroom at a private school to get a feel for the place. When I walked into the classroom, I was surprised to see about 7 pupils only in the classroom and a big screen in the corner of the room with Microsoft Teams. You see, this school was a hybrid school where pupils with mental health issues, behavioural problems could attend school from home. It was slightly disturbing to see, well, for me to see that 13-year-olds and 14-year-olds completing their schooling online and several of them not putting their camera on or their microphone on. But the school was okay with this. Maybe you're thinking this could be the school of the future. With more and more people suffering from the various crises in the world, perhaps this is a solution. But personally, I'm not a fan. When I spoke to a colleague over lunch, he said that the school doesn't need therapists or psychologists to work with the children. In other words, the teachers do it. What I'd like to see is perhaps a couple of school therapists and psychologists who are paid a decent wage, and then the teachers can be freed up to do the teaching. Given the fact that I also have no idea of the salary I'd get, as often you still don't see the salary posted on job adverts, I declined the offer. And a few weeks ago I saw it advertised online for €25 an hour. Thank you, everybody.